Hi, I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Coordinating Director for Humanities team, and welcome to this keynote interview with the Reverend Dr. Iyanla Vanzant. Her story reads like an epic adventure filled with near misses, struggle, strength, courage, and triumph. From her life's experiences, she's uncovered her life's purpose, discovered the power that lies within, and recovered her authentic self. Iyanla Vanzant has emerged as a living testament to the value in life's valleys and the power of acting on faith. The best part is she teaches what she has learned. I know you're going to enjoy this 30-minute keynote interview with Iyanla Vanzant. As we get started, I'd like to thank all of the people participating today by phone, webcast, and replay. We have an enormous audience who have registered for Global Oneness Day and who are participating live during this summit. I also want to thank the tens of thousands who are participating on the ground in programs including in Monterrey, Mexico, Oneness Declaration themed events, the Global Rhythm Circle, and other programs. This is our 6th year celebrating Global Oneness Day, and in the first 4 years alone, over 100,000 registered to participate in the summit. Global Oneness Day has become our Earth Day for an awakened humanity. I'm going to introduce our special guest now. From Welfare Mother to New York Times bestselling author. From the Brooklyn Projects to Emmy Award winner. From broken pieces to inner peace, Iyanla Vanzant is one of the country's most prolific writers, public speakers, and among the most influential, socially engaged, and acclaimed spiritual life coaches of our time. Executive producer and host of the breakout hit, Iyanla Vanzant, Fix My Life on OWN Oprah Winfrey Network. Iyanla Vanzant's focus on faith, empowerment, and loving relationships has inspired millions around the world. The author of 16 books, including an astounding 5 New York Times bestsellers, Iyanla's work has been translated into 23 languages and has sold over 8 million copies. With her no-nonsense approach and underlying message of live better by loving better, Iyanla has ignited the universal spark of self-discovery. And welcome to Global Oneness Day, Iyanla. It's a privilege and a pleasure to have you with us.
Well, thank you for having me. And happy Oneness Day to everybody.
All right. Well, let's go right into questions because there are so many wonderful things that we can talk about. I'd like to start out by asking you about your Inner Visions Institute for Spiritual Development. You share people can begin their journey by embracing spiritual principles that result in healing and spiritual growth. And I just thought I'd ask you, what are things you recommend to people as they begin their spiritual journey?
I think the 3 principles, I call them AAA, awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance. Awareness of who you are, of what you feel, of what's going on around you. Awareness. So very often, we've become numb or just absolutely out of touch with what's going on within us or around us. So awareness is number 1. Number 2 would be acknowledgement. Acknowledgement of yourself, acknowledgement of what's going on around you, acknowledgement of the people in your life, acknowledgement of what you feel, what you think, what you do, what you want, just acknowledgement to really give yourself permission to just say, look, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, doing. Opens up new doors of opportunity and experience. And finally, acceptance. One of the things that causes us great pain in our life, in our families, in our relationships, is our inability to accept one another and our inability to accept our lives have happened the way they've happened.
Oh, I love that. Boy, those are ones for the refrigerator. Awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance.
Yeah, AAA.
So beautiful. Yes, that really puts a level ground under us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let me also share on this same homepage, you share you believe in oneness, and you talk about this, that, and of course, this is so fundamental to understanding who we are, and of course, this is what this summit, Global Oneness Day, celebrates. Can you just share a little about oneness?
The belief that I believe in my life, I've learned that there's really only one mind, there's one heart, there's one life, there's one spirit that moves in us and through all of us, which is what makes us one. We are each a unique expression of the same fingerprint of life, of the Creator, of good, of God. We're each a unique fingerprint And, you know, they say no two fingerprints are the same, and every fingerprint has its distinguishing mark. And I believe that's who we are. And because we're all the different fingerprints of the same spirit, we're all one. We're one in spirit, we're one in mind, we're one in body, we're one in life. And what tricks us, or what makes us think that it's differently, is that we each have our own body, you know, and that's what creates the separation.
Yes, so true that these bodies can absolutely create an illusion of separation, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
What, Iyanla, I know just in watching your program, you seem that you are in a connection state as you do your work. So clearly you have your own spiritual practices that allow you to really work in that one mind, in that one heart. Do you have things that you'd recommend to our listeners for in this area of spiritual practice?
Deep breathing. You've got to learn how to breathe. Most of us breathe backwards. We inflate our lungs as we deflate our lungs as we inhale, and inflate our lungs as we exhale. And we need to do it the other way around. Breath is what puts us in touch and connection to the life force within us, so that we can be reacquainted. So I say deep breathing is one. Stillness. Oh my God, could you just be still for 5 minutes? I don't know why people have such a hard time just being still, getting still, do no thing, which is very different than meditation when you stop the mind. But of course, meditation is a very powerful spiritual practice. So stillness in the body, and meditation in the mind, and deep breathing. I think if we could just master those, just go through things, our lives would be very different.
Sounds good. Put our mobile devices, our handheld down.
Oh, yeah.
Leave the computer for a half hour, an hour, and just engage these things, huh?
Yeah, just reacquaint yourself with the life force and energy that's moving through you, because you are a unique imprint of the one mind, one life, one body, one spirit.
Beautiful and so true. So true. So wonderful. Thank you. One of the things that you talk about, Iyanla, as you say, is our authentic identity. How do you step into the fullness of authentic identity? I know this is something that you share is very important.
The best way, I think, or what I've learned about standing in my authentic identity and living the truth of who I am, is really getting clear about the stories I tell myself. When I can get clear about the stories I tell myself that have nothing to do with who I am, you know, the things that keep me frightened, the things that keep me angry, they did this because, or I don't have this because, all of those stories that I tell myself, when I get clear about the fact that those are stories and that there's a deeper truth that I can live, and I'm become willing to live that authentically. You know what we got to do? We got to be willing to let people know who we are. We let people know who we think we should be, but we really rarely let people see who we are. Our strengths, our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, our goofiness, our silliness, our brokenness, our confusion, our intellect, whatever. You know, we make up who we think people want us to be, and we live that.
Absolutely. Is it as simple as that? Is it as simple as just being transparent and just sharing what is true?
Well, it all depends on how committed or addicted you are to being who people want you to be. The more committed or addicted you are to being who people want you to be, the more difficult it's going to be for you to stand up in the truth of who you are. But sooner or later, I see your true colors shining through. They will come through sooner or later. Who you are is going to burst forward, and you just got to trust that it's okay and that people will love you anyway.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And, of course, we are all children, sons, daughters, offspring of God, and so our true colors are beautiful. And if we can just really get comfortable with that, as you share, stop telling ourselves these stories that are human stories that take us in the wrong direction, and instead get in touch with our essence, our true self. There's so many beautiful things then that we stand on.
And the things that divide us, we have to really start examining them in a different way, whether it's politics or religion or gender or income level or, these are things that divide us and make us believe, well, you're over there, I'm over here. Here's the thing that nobody's able to get away from. All of us come into life the same way, and all of us are going out the same way. I don't care who you are. You're not going to go out in some wonderful way because you're wealthy. You're going to exhale and you're not going to inhale. And all of us came into this life through someone's private parts. Unless you dropped down out of egg somewhere, we all got here the same way. We're all leaving here the same way. So who are you? I mean, what is it about you that is so unacceptable? Can you imagine even the Pope? How'd the Pope get here? Same way I did. How's he leaving? Same way I am. Same way you are. And that's the beauty, and that is the oneness of life, because God levels the playing field. I don't care how important you think you are. You came in here naked, you're going out of here naked.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Well, I love this because you've taken this conversation into this whole aspect of the collective and oneness. And, of course, in today's world, there's so many challenging things here in the U.S., the polarity in politics, but globally, climate change, and, of course, this whole migrant immigration crisis, and so many things. What are things that you invite people to do in oneness? So let's, for many of our listeners, of course, this is their life purpose. They're very much in touch with living as one. What are invitations that you'd like to extend to them that where we can step out and in oneness create a better world together?
I think that everybody has to have a mission, a purpose, a passion that makes our world a better place to be. You can't afford to walk around anymore thinking that you're not involved in global warming or that the environment is not important to you, or that you can buy a bigger car and use more gas and it doesn't have an impact on the footprint on the planet. Everybody has to find something, even if it's just organizing recycling on your block. Everybody, we all have to participate in that so that we can have a positive impact on the world for your great-grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. Find something. If your thing is not the environment, then let's look at global warming. Let's look at water conservation. Everybody has to do something to save this planet.
Isn't that the truth? Boy, and our mothers used to say, or in my case, my mother, I think still says, many hands make light work. And so that means we all have to get involved. Otherwise, those that are involved get out of balance because there's just too much on their shoulders.
That's right. That's right.
I love this. One of the things that we see in Humanities Team we're talking about here during Global Oneness Day, of course, our focus is awakening oneness, but part of the reason for that is because as is shared in New Thought, that we come into a new self-identification and we see ourselves as a cell in the body of the divine, in the body of the earth. And so we kind of moved our fence posts out from just ourself and our nuclear family, our wife and kids, to the fence posts around the earth. And so we naturally want to become involved in at least one cause. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we want to do. Or if it's not a cause that saves it, that's impacting the physical earth, let it be a cause that's impacting a physical life. I still have some difficulty understanding why we have so many golf courses and so many homeless people. I don't understand that. When we could be building homes, we're playing golf. To me, that is a glaring representation of the belief in the lack of oneness. So what are you doing about homelessness? What are you doing about better education for children? If we can't do something about what physically impacts the earth, then let us raise our voice and our hands and come together and work for what physically impacts a life.
Boy, I love that. Let's set that intention that in this generation, we look at things like golf courses. And, of course, golf is lovely for people that enjoy golf. But for golf courses and other things to consider, are there other ways we could spend these resources that can help people create a life empowering, life supporting, life sustaining world, which we all want? It's what we've all dreamed about as parents. But the way we make our dreams true is we've got to come down on the field. We've all got to get involved here, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, gosh, I love this, and of course these are such important themes here on Global Oneness Day to awaken to oneness, and then in awakening to oneness, some of these other things very naturally happen, and certainly was true for me when in the middle 90s when I started reading the Conversations with God books and other texts and other media, including Oprah, who of course isn't she fantastic? My God, and the Oprah Winfrey Network. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
What an awakening device it is for the whole world. In fact, you might talk about that for a moment, Iyanla, because I know you work closely with Oprah and the Oprah Winfrey Network. Of course, you've got one of the key programs on Oprah.
Well, I just think she will always say that she started this network and agreed to do this network so that she could do programming that brings people into greater alignment with the truth of their soul, that addresses the issues of spiritual nature, spiritual concern. I think what we've learned over the years is we can't just do that kind of programming because people just aren't watching it. But in the midst of programming that gets people's interest or programming that either, appeals to their eye for entertainment, we can also do a master class, a Super Soul Sunday, and Iyanla Fix My Life, Where Are They Now? That helps us understand that we are growing, we are evolving, and that we are all one. So I'm really grateful for the Oprah Winfrey Network, not just because of my show, because even if my show weren't there, there'd be a Super Soul Sunday where teachers and masters come together and share with the world. There would be a master class where, I can really hear in the voice of people that I admire and respect what their journey has been, because it teaches us how one we are. Who would have thought that I've got the same background as a Morgan Freeman or a Diane Sawyer? When we listen to their stories and we hear them, we see that we are more alike than we are different.
That is the truth, and I love this special that Oprah's created. In fact, it's today, October 24th, is the last day that it's airing, this Believe special that talks about these very themes that we're talking about here now, doesn't it?
It addresses one of the major divisions that tries to trick us into believing that we're different, which is religion. And your beliefs make you different than me. No, your beliefs are different, but we are the same. So Belief is a 7-day special where they literally travel around the world and look at what people believe and how they practice their belief and how our beliefs are more alike than they are different. It is absolutely phenomenal. People are going to be amazed.
Yes, I suspect a lot of our listeners are already tuned into the Believe series that's running right now on Oprah. And if you haven't heard about it, go to the Oprah page. You'll see there's a beautiful video that Oprah created that talks about this series. It's called Believe, and it's fabulous because it gets into specifics of what are the things that are holding us back, and how do we create this world that we all want as parents. Beautiful. Well, let me just segue to a few things on your Facebook page, and you've got about a 2.5 million Facebook page. Congratulations on that, Dr. Van Zandt. One of the things that you post here, it says, the world I want begins with me. God works from the inside out. you must first look within yourself to eliminate the fear, the anger, the imbalance in your life. Then, and only then, can you move forward to create peacefully and powerfully the changes needed in the world. I think that's beautiful. Maybe would you mind talking about that?
I just think it is. You know, nothing in life begins from the outside in. Everything begins from the inside out. I think we're living in a very powerful time when we can do our own inner work, do our own inner healing, our own inner growth, so that when we come to the world table of service and support and healing and growth, we're coming as healthy as we possibly can. You know, so that's why I think it's important for us to heal within so that we can serve without.
So true, and so often we tend to, when we think of pollution, we think of outer world pollution, some of the kinds of things we've talked about, climate change and other forms of pollution in the outer world, but perhaps one of the most powerful and insidious is the inner world pollution, where we don't have our spiritual practices and things accumulate, such as fear and isolation, even a sense of irresponsibility, where maybe we're focused on things like leisure things and sensing as we look out at the world with the world in crisis that maybe we're not doing our part, and the way we can get at that inner pollution is through some of these things you've been talking about, but through our spiritual practice and our inner journey. Huh?
Absolutely. And I also think that, you know, we live in a society where it is expected and anticipated, accepted, and even promoted that you wash your body every day. Why? Why would you wash your body every day? You're covered in clothes, you're sitting in an environment. Well, we know that there are toxins and pollutants in the air, and as you go out in the world, you gather those, and they do infect your body, and they do infect your clothing. And so we wash our bodies, we do our laundry, we clean our exterior. But what about the number of days that you encountered an upsetting situation or a fear-generating situation? How do you clean that up? What are you doing to clean up the energy around your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, which is just as real as what happens to your physical body? So we'll clean our physical cells, but we won't clean our energetic cells. And that's another thing that keeps us separated. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Oh, my gosh, and such an important point. And isn't it funny? Of course, that is Ken Wilber likes to say that he has his AQAL quadrant, all quadrants, all levels, and on the right side he's got the collective, personal, collective, and then world collective, and then on the left side is the interior world. And he says that, just as you're discussing here now, that all of our focus is on the external world, the physical, and it just leaves begging the emotional world, the spiritual world, the interior world. And we really need to pay more attention there, because this is the key to really creating our own life, a fulfilling life, and then the kind of world that we want for ourselves.
Right.
So important. Well, let me segue here. Gosh, we only have a little bit of time left. I knew this half hour was going to go fast. I think many of our listeners here are well down this path of embodying oneness, and thank you to all of you listeners who are on this path, because we can only create the world that we want together. To people that are well down the path, have been working more on the personal development side and haven't really stepped out into leadership roles where they're writing, speaking, maybe involved with service projects, do you have inspirations you might extend to them to really step into leadership so that we can together create the world that we all want?
Well, I think that we're all leaders. I mean, we're leaders in our families, we're leaders on the block we live in, we're leaders in our church, we're leaders in our group. The thing is to embrace the principles of the leader. And that really is what makes the distinction. When you are a leader, you come to serve without anticipation of reward or recognition. You come to use your gifts so that you can give what you have in order to gain more. And when you are a leader, you know, you're looking for your highest the highest and greatest good for everyone involved, not just for you or for what you believe or what you think, but for everyone involved. So I think that if we all begin to think of ourselves as leaders and begin to function using the principles of leadership, it'll be much easier for us to use our gifts and share our gifts and make a really incredible difference in the world.
I love that. I love that. The really just being in touch with these principles of what leadership is and coming to leadership for the right reason, as you said, without focus on reward or recognition and a higher purpose. It's truly beautiful. Have you written, I know you've written these books that I talked about during your introduction. Is there one book in particular of yours that talks about this?
I would say Peace from Broken Pieces. It's probably the one that speaks to growing from a place of isolated pain to a more global understanding of my oneness with everyone and everything, but also how everyone and everything in my life impacted me. And as a leader in the space I live, to take responsibility for healing myself for all future generations. So I would say Peace from Broken Pieces is probably what I would offer people to take a look at.
Was that Peace to Broken Pieces? I want to make sure I got that down right, Dr.
Peace,
Vanzant.
P-E-A-C-E, Peace from Broken Pieces, P-I-E-C-E-S.
Peace from Broken Pieces.
Right.
Oh, perfect. Well, that's perfect. Well, let me recommend that book to all of our listeners, Peace from Broken Pieces. Also, let me recommend this incredible show of Dr. Vanzant that I referenced in her introduction. It's called Iyanla, Fix My Life on the Oprah Winfrey Network. I've seen this show, and it's very just very inspiring. You might even, if you would, just spend a minute telling people about the show who might not be familiar with it.
Well, it's funny because people give me credit for the show, but really my guests are the heroes. They are the ones who come forward to share the most intimate, dark, broken places of their lives in order to get support toward healing. And just in seeing the show, you get to identify the people you know, the experiences you've had, the things that you've seen and heard, that all are being reflected in the story that's told on the screen. And they do the work. What I do is I teach principle and I give information. So we do that every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on OWN. Iyanla Fix My Life. And I tell people, come with your pen and your paper, because this is not television. It is a personal workshop.
I love that. This isn't about a good read. This is about we're gonna scrappy here. We're gonna get to work.
Right, that's for sure.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, Iyanla, we're just about out of time. Here, as we get ready to wrap up this segment, what would maybe be the most important thing you'd like to wrap with? An inspiration, an invitation, a thought that comes to you for here regarding Global Oneness Day and all of us who are gathered around the world to celebrate this Earth Day for an awakened humanity?
I think that for me, one of my favorite lessons is in A Course in Miracles says, you cannot solve the problem because you do not know what the problem is. And so many of us, we run around looking for what's wrong and how to fix it. But if we don't know what the problem is, we won't be able to fix it. And the Course goes on to say that the only problem you have is the belief that you're separate from God. Heal that, and your entire world will come together as one.
Boy, that is the closing note for this program. That is perfect. This belief that we're separate from God, and to know that it is a false. It's false. It is not true.
Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful. Well, I want to just Iyanla, Dr. Vanzant, I want to thank you so much for being with us here on Global Oneness Day. Your profound, thoughtful, and inspiring sharing is just off the charts. It's been also just such a pleasure to have you with us for this Global Oneness Day 2015. I also want to just take a moment to thank my humanities team colleagues and partners who have worked so hard. Actually, they're almost all volunteer and who have contributed thousands of hours to creating and producing, planning Global Oneness Day. And then finally, last, definitely not least, I want to thank all of you, the listeners who are participating in Global Oneness Day. And I want to invite you to go to Iyanla's Keynote event page on the Global Oneness Day site and share your comments and inspirations. We're going to be bringing some of those comments and inspirations to the closing ceremony. Next up is the New Bottom Line for Business panel. Rinaldo Brudico, Thomas Hubel, Jennifer McLean, Dr. Chris Laszlo, and panel moderator John Thomas are up next. We're going to be formally announcing a Conscious Business Declaration and Conscious Business Curriculum during this program. These announcements are very important and involve not only humanities team, but also Urban Laszlo and the Club of Budapest and Hero Sanjoy and the Goy Peace Foundation. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for this important program. Before we go to our next program, we're going to enjoy a oneness moment and experience 10 seconds of silence so we may connect with the divine within and each other. Let's begin our oneness moment now.